Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're here with Austin from Ohio. Today, we are going to go through a couple things, a couple articles, and a couple patents and stuff like that. There's not really going to be any specific order to this video, but I did want to come on here and make something, of course, because it's been like 2 days and I really need to start making more, even though I already feel like I'm making a lot. But yep, so there's no order really to what we're going on here today. But there is a common theme though, of course, because that's what this channel is about. Well, first I want to talk about, sorry, I had to pause there because the neighbors were beeping their horn or something, picking somebody up. I have no idea what's going on there. Okay, I went over this in one of my previous videos. This is the Masonic Creed that was exposed by a man named John Todd, who was involved in the mysteries for a good while, but then he got out of it, exposed this oath here, or covenant, or whatever they call it, or what you want to call it. And he paid the ultimate price, which was he gave his life for this. So, this is the sacred covenant that they all take, and you will see why. It's pretty lengthy. This is going to be the start of this video, so we'll just go ahead and we'll get right into it. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water, also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good, with fun images and musical tones. Those they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products being used in film and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we shall inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it is for their help. We will start early on, when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and cause other diseases, for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese, and when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention toward money and material goods, so they may never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games, so they may never be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective, but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure always, for it is the way. We will make them kill each other when it suits us. We will keep them separated from the oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and gently, letting them think that they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, or whichever suits us best. We will make them rip each other's hearts apart and kill their own children. We will accomplish this by using hate, as our ally, anger as our friend. The hate will blind them totally, and never shall they see that from their conflicts we emerge as their rulers. They will be busy killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbors for as long as we see fit. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars and their deaths. We shall repeat this over and over until our ultimate goal is accomplished. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger through the use of through images and sounds. We will use all the tools we have to accomplish this. The tools will be provided by their labor. We will make them hate themselves and their neighbors. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one. This they must never know. They must never know that a man's color is an illusion. They must always think they are not equal. Drop by drop, drop by drop, we will advance our goal. We will take over their land, resources, and wealth to exercise total control over them. We will deceive them into accepting laws that will steal the little freedom they will have. We will establish a money system that will imprison them forever, keeping them and their children in debt. When they shall band together, we shall accuse them of crimes and present a different story to the world, for we shall own all the media. We will use our media to control the flow of information and their sentiment in our favor. When they shall rise up against us, we will crush them like insects, for they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything, for they will have no weapons. We will recruit some of their own to carry out our plans. We will promise them eternal life, but eternal life they will never have, for they are not of us. The recruits will be called initiates, and will be indoctrinated to believe false rites of passage to higher realms. Members of these groups think they are one with us, never knowing the truth. They must never learn this truth, for they will turn against us. For their work, they will be rewarded with earthly things and great titles, but never will they become immortal and join us. Never will they receive the light and travel the stars. They will never reach the higher realms, for the killing of their own kind will prevent passage to the realm of enlightenment. This they will never know. The truth will be hidden in their face so close they will not be able to focus on it until it's too late. Oh yes, so grand the illusion of freedom will be, that they will never know they are our slaves. When all is in place, the reality we will have created for them will own them. This reality will be their poison. They will live in self-delusion. When our goal is accomplished, a new era of domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by their beliefs, the beliefs we have established from time immemorial. But if they ever find out that they are our equal, we shall perish then. This they must never know. If they ever find out that together they can vanquish us, they will take action. They must never ever find out what we have done, for if they do, we shall have no place to run, for it will be easy to see who we are once the veil has fallen. Our actions will have revealed who we are, and they will hunt us down, and no person shall give us shelter. This is the secret covenant by which we shall live the rest of our present and future lives, for this reality will transcend many generations and lifespans. This covenant is sealed by blood, our blood. We are the ones who from heaven to earth came. This covenant must never, ever be known to exist. It must never, ever be written or spoken of, for if it is, the consciousness it will spawn will release the fury of the Prime Creator upon us, and we shall be cast to the depths from whence we came and remain there until the end time of infinity itself. Yes, this is what they live by. And I brought this up again because I want this to be fresh in your mind for when we go over some other things. Now, this may be partially responsible for why my one video got taken down. I'm going to try to read through this and explain it without using certain terminology. I hope you understand. But if not, and this video gets taken down, I will be suspended for a week. Anyway, WO 2020 060606. This is a patent for a cryptocurrency system using body activity data. And it was patented by Microsoft Technology Licensing. So Bill Gates has this patent here. Let's go ahead and look at this diagram real quick. I'm sure I don't have to explain it, but you can go ahead and that was weird. You can go ahead and understand what this means. Let's read. Human body activity associated with a task provided to a user may be used in a mining process of a cryptocurrency system. A server may provide a task to a device of a user, which is communicatively coupled to the server. A sensor communicatively coupled to or comprised in the device of the user may sense body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system, communicatively coupled to the device of the user, may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. Okay, now, we all know exactly what this is. I do not have to say it. I won't say it. But we know what this is. Just because we can read and we can put two and two together. At least I hope so. There is another patent that I wanted to show you. And it is this one. This is patent US 650-6148B2, and it is a patent for nervous system manipulation by electromagnetic fields from monitors. June 1st, 2001, application was filed for by this Hendrickus guy. But what I found interesting was the anticipated expiration. June 1st of this year. I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure what it could mean. Might mean nothing. Might just get renewed, but don't know. We are going to read this, for this is very important, and this is the only proof you will ever need to know that your television, your computer, your smartphone are controlling your mind by manipulating your nervous system. And that's exactly what this says in here. Physiological effects have been observed in a human subject in response to stimulation of the skin with weak electromagnetic fields that are pulsed with certain frequencies near 1/2 Hz or 2.4 Hz, such as to excite a sensory resonance. Many computer monitors and TV tubes, when displaying pulsed images, emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitudes to cause such excitation. It is therefore possible to manipulate the nervous system of a subject by pulsing images displayed on a nearby computer monitor or TV set. For the latter, the image pulsing may be embedded in the program material, or it may be overlaid by modulating a video stream either as RF signal or as video signal. The image displayed on a computer monitor may be pulsed effectively by a simple computer program. For certain monitors, pulsed electromagnetic fields capable of exciting sensory resonances in nearby subjects may be generated even as the displayed images are pulsed with subliminal intensity. There's a little diagram here. So there you are. This is all the proof you will ever need. Literally. A method for manipulating the nervous system of a subject located near a monitor, the monitor emitting an electromagnetic field when displaying an image. By virtue of the physical display process, the subject having a sensory resonance frequency, the method comprising creating a video signal for displaying an image on the monitor, the image of having an intensity, modulating the video signal for pulsing the image intensity with a frequency in the range 0.1 Hz to 15 Hz, and setting the pulse frequency to the resonance frequency. A computer program for manipulating the nervous system of a subject located near a monitor, the monitor emitting an electromagnetic field when displaying an image by virtue of the physical display process, the subject having cutaneous nerves that fire spontaneously and having spiking patterns. The computer program comprising a display routine for displaying an image on the monitor, the image having an intensity. A pulse routine for pulsing the image intensity with a frequency in the range 0.1 to 15 Hz. A frequency routine that can be internally controlled by the subject for setting the frequency, whereby the emitted electromagnetic field is pulsed. The cutaneous nerves are exposed to the pulsed electromagnetic field, and the spiking patterns of nerves acquire a frequency modulation. You guys can read the majority of this on your own time, but I just wanted to go through a couple points in this. Hardware means for manipulating the nervous system of a subject located near a monitor, the monitor being responsive to a video stream and emitting an electromagnetic field when displaying an image by virtue of the physical display process, the image having an intensity, the subject having cutaneous nerves that fire spontaneously and have spiking patterns. The hardware pattern means compromising. Pulse generator for voltage pulses means responsive to voltage pulses for modulating the video stream to pulse image intensity, whereby the emitted electromagnetic field is pulsed, and we read that part like 3 times. This is literally proof, hardcore evidence, because I told you, on this channel, we are only dealing with documented fact. This is the definition of documented fact. You can see here that they have been doing this for a very, very long time. And they have perfected it with smartphones, anything, tablets, television. You parents who are sitting your kids in front of a smartphone or a laptop, you are destroying your child's life. Unwittingly, I will say. This stuff is literally out in the open. This is public record. Problem is, if you go start talking to somebody about how TV and computers and phones and anything like that is manipulating their nervous system, they will laugh at you, because this was successful. That is why they will laugh at you, because this right here, among other things, was successful. And there's a whole lot. Like, you see the little icon there on the right side. We're not even close to being down this yet. I haven't even read the whole thing, and I read a whole lot of it, actually. I got like way down. And I was like, this is a lot of reading for one sitting. But you can read all about how they do this stuff. And anybody that tells you that this is not real, show them this patent. US 650-6148B2. Set to expire June 1st of this year. Next, we are going to look at, these are the communist planks. that are in the Communist Manifesto. So we're going to read this, and then it gives you little examples of how these things are being implemented in our society or already were implemented in our society today. Number 1, abolition of private property and the application of all rent to public purpose. The 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the various zoning, school, and property taxes, also the Bureau of Land Management. Yes, they own all the property. We're not even allowed on well over half of it, actually. You know how much land is in this country and in this world that we're not allowed to be on? Human beings telling other human beings that they are not allowed on land that was given to us by God? Doesn't make sense when you think of it that way. A heavy progressive or graduated income tax. Misapplication of the 16th Amendment of the Constitution. 1913, the Social Security Act. 1936, Joint House Resolution 192 of 1933. Various state income taxes. We call it paying your fair share. Abolition of all rights of inheritance. We call it a federal and state estate tax. 1916, or reform probate laws and limited inheritance via arbitrary inheritance tax statutes. There's other stuff that you can use to explain these, but this is just what I found. Confiscation of the property of all immigrants and rebels. We call in government seizures, tax liens, Public Law 99-570, 1986. Executive Order 11490, Sections 1205, 2002, which gives private land to the Department of Urban Development, the imprisonment of, quote, terrorists, and those who speak out or write against the government. 1997 Crime, Terrorist Bill, or the IRS confiscation of property without due process. We also have the Patriot Act, National Defense Authorization Act, things like that. National Defense Resources Preparedness Act. Moving on. Centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of a national bank with state capital and exclusive monopoly. We all know about the Federal Reserve. The credit debt system nationally organized by the Federal Reserve Act 1913. All local banks are members of the Fed system are regulated by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC. The Federal Reserve is a private corporation. It is not owned by us or by the United States government. It's the other way around, actually. Centralization of the means of communication and transportation in the hands of the state. We call it Federal Communications Commission, Department of Transportation, mandated through the ICC Act of 1887, Commissions Act of 1934. The Interstate Commerce Commission, established in 1938, the Federal Aviation Administration, Federal Communications Commission, Executive Orders 11490, 10999, as well as state-mandated driver's licenses and Department of Transportation regulations. These are all things that we are used to in our society. So you could say that we are already used to a communist society. Extension of factories and instruments of production owned by the state, the bringing into cultivation of wastelands, and the improvement of the soil, generally in accordance with a common plan. We call it corporate capacity, the Desert Entry Act, Department of Agriculture, as well as Department of Commerce and Labor, Department of Interior, Environmental Protection Agency, Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Reclamation, Bureau of Mines, National Park Service, and IRS, control of business through corporate regulations. Equal liability of all to labor, establishment of industrial armies, especially for agriculture. We call it Social Security Administration, Department of Labor. National debt and inflation caused by the communal bank has caused the need for a two-income family. Woman in the workplace since 1920s, 19th Amendment U.S. Constitution, Civil Rights Act of 1964, assorted socialist unions, affirmative action, the Federal Public Works Program, and of course, Executive Order 11,000, which is the seizure of American people to work in work brigades under government supervision. That's a fact. You can look that up. Combination of agriculture with manufacturing industries, gradual abolition of the distinction between town and country by a more equable distribution of the population over the country. We call it the Planning Reorganization Act of 1949, Zoning, Title 17, 1910 and 1990, Super Corporate Farms, as well as Executive Orders 11647, 11731, the 10 regions, the FEMA regions, and Public Law 89-136. Free education for all children in government schools, abolition of children's factory labor in its present form, combination of educational with industrial production, etc. People are being taxed to support what we call, quote, public schools, which train the young to work for the communal debt system. We call it Department of Education, the NEA, and outcome-based education. Do you think they're getting all this stuff done, folks? Do you think they actually have it done? They've been doing this since before I was born. I was born into this. Okay, next. I think this is the one that we already read, but we'll make sure of it. The Great Transhumanism Reset, Exposing the New World Order, Last Days, Endgame. Klaus Schwab, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, has audaciously drawn back the proverbial curtains to expose the New World Order endgame in these last days, confirming that the Great Reset will usher in a global system of totalitarian control and demonic worship predicated on transhumanism, and it's already here. That's a fact. We already went over all that. Writing in 2016, Schwab pierced the veil shrouding the NWO vision when he asserted that we stand on the brink of a technological revolution that will fundamentally alter the way we live, work, and relate to one another. In its scale, scope, and complexity, the transformation will be unlike anything humankind has experienced before. And what was this that he was referring to? The Fourth Industrial Revolution, and it lies at the heart of the New World Order agenda, including the World Economic Forum's Great Reset. And they've been coming out lately, and they've been saying things like, oh, the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory, and these crazy people are talking about this Great Reset. And I see the New York Times said something about that, actually. The New York Times and the LA Times. It's on the World Economic Forum's website, and they wrote a book about it, a literal manifesto about how they are using the Great Reset to usher in the New World Order. It's literally laid out, just straight up laid out. No kind of doublespeak, actually. It's just all very plain as English. Schwab and his merry band of global elites see this revolution as the divine pathway in a pantheistic, humanistic sense, not in a God sense, of course, because these people are Luciferians, they're humanists, to the realization of humanity's ultimate salvation, the final solution that will deliver their dream of a glorious utopian world, the elusive final state or stage of Marxism. Of course, their view of that utopian is not necessarily the same as the rest of the world, aka the billions of mere mortal commoners. No, their model is predicated on a dystopian system of totalitarian control, a transhumanist technocracy with the enlightened elites firmly established at the top of the pyramid, benevolently serving the world as the fountainhead of human achievement and the guardians of the gates. This is no longer hidden or secret agenda. Rather, it has now emerged from the shadows with a truly demonic boldness, confidently proclaimed by the globalist elites and power brokers themselves. Let's explore how transhumanism will serve as the conduit for the system of the beast, a new world order that is no longer speculative science fiction, but rather a present reality that is emerging before our very eyes. And that's all I wanted to go over for now on this one. We'll come back in the next video probably and read all this stuff here. But this is perfect because I wanted to bring you to... Where's it at? Let's take a look at this. Okay, first, let me tell you something about this. I posted about this on record on Facebook before any of this started happening. Any of this started happening. Because I read things and I checked out Event 201 and I listened to the quote intellectuals and the people that are behind this whole thing, and I actually listen to them when they speak. And about a year ago or so, I would post about this and people would say, "Oh, you're insane, that would never happen. You're not going to need to have some V passport in order to go around and to get jobs and to fly airplanes and drive cars and travel. That's crazy. That's crazy." Well, here's the New York Times, ladies and gentlemen. As of yesterday. So, there's that. Coming soon, the V passport. In the near future, travel may require digital documentation showing that passengers have been V'd or tested for the C-19. Among governments and those in the travel industry, a new term has entered the vocabulary. V passport. That's not a new term. They've been talking about that forever. One of President Biden's executive orders aimed at curbing the pandemic asked government agencies to assess the feasibility of linking C-19V certificates with other V documents and producing digital versions of them. This is where the digital identity part of the Great Reset also comes in, and the first patent that I showed you comes in. Denmark's government said on Wednesday that in the next 3 to 4 months it will roll out a digital passport that will allow citizens to show that they have been V'd. It isn't just governments that are suggesting V passports. In a few weeks, Etihad Airways and Emirates will start using digital travel pass developed by International Air Transport Association to help passengers manage their travel plans and provide airlines and government documentation that they have been V'd or tested for C-19. Okay. Yes. Yes. This is exactly what is going on. And now they're out in the mainstream telling you that. Telling you what people like myself and others have been telling you for a long time. But now they just picked it up. They picked up the speed. They went from running to riding a bike to driving a car, and now they're in a jet. And they're flying so fast into this new world order that we can't even keep up anymore. So many things are happening that we cannot even keep up. Not even a little bit. Every time we turn on anything, including mainstream news, or you read something, or even if you get on your Facebook page, 10 things happen in 3 minutes. And now people are accepting of this. I see people that said that this is a good thing. Also because they are uneducated and misinformed when it comes to things about the C-19V. Won't you ask Bill Gates about the V? Oh yeah, he'll tell you. He'll tell you what's going on with that. Let's check out this one. A skeptical look at the Great Reset, a technocratic agenda that waited years for a global crisis to exploit. Truth. How the Great Reset ideology of unelected bureaucrats would steer society toward massive surveillance and control. True. Before I read this, I actually just thought of something. The other day, I told you guys that there was this other bill that was coming out, and another gun control bill, and I thought it was like HR 647 or something like that. I was actually misinformed about that. I was told that by somebody, and before looking into it, I came on here and said that I would look into it, and I acknowledged that it might be a thing. Turns out it's a provision in another bill. It's not the same, like its own bill. It's a provision in another bill, and we will look into that bill because that is real. But what I was told about it was not reality. It's not a standalone bill. It's not HR 647 or whatever. It's a provision of another bill that I am going to find and we are going to read. Just wanted to get that out of the way. In the face of a global pandemic, an unelected body of global bureaucrats based in Davos, Switzerland, has asked the world to trust its vision of a technocratic Great Reset, knowing full well the public would never go for such a request had it not been for the golden opportunity they had all been waiting for. When the head of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, announced in June that now is the time for a Great Reset, it wasn't the first time he called for it. In fact, he called on the World Economic Forum to start the Great Reset over 5 years ago. And that's what this video is right here. But this year, he's saying that C-19 is the most urgent reason to restructure all of society and the global economy. Yes, these people have had this plan for a long time. More recently, yes, they've been talking about the Great Reset for a while. This was something that was talked about in the early 2000s, even in the 90s. It's been around for a while, but they've literally been waiting for something so they can implement it. Great Reset agenda was already in place long before the C pandemic, and the WEF was just waiting for a crisis to exploit it. Not just them, others, but yes. Prior to this year, implementing worldwide lockdowns that destroy businesses, wreck the economy, and leave people destitute and stripped of their constitutional rights while trying to enact invasive contact tracing, immunity passports, and otherwise massive bioelectronic surveillance apparatuses would never have been accepted by the citizens of a free society. Yes. Never. If you would have tried to pull this on the United States or anywhere in 2019 without the C-19, it would have been stopped dead in its tracks. The so-called Great Reset is an old ideology touted for decades by globalists like Henry Kissinger, who opened in 2014. Actually, this only mistake in this article, Henry Kissinger did not say this. John Kerry said this quote. So it should read, the so-called Great Reset is an old ideology touted for decades by globalists like John Kerry, who opened in 2014. Never before has a new world order had to be assembled from so many different perceptions, or so global a scale. The Great Reset is the proposed mechanism for setting in motion a new global order, but it wouldn't be possible to bring forth such a bold plan without a global crisis, be it manufactured or unfortunate happenstance that shocks society to its core. And this is what Klaus Schwab said. The pandemic represents a rare but narrow window of opportunity to reflect, reimagine, and reset our world to create a healthier, more equitable, more prosperous future. Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum. Yes. This is very accurate. It's so easy to see. And people in this country I don't know what is going on. It could be the second patent I showed you was so successful, among other things, that they're literally just so good at it. And something here Henry Kissinger did say is that Americans believe nothing until they see it on television. So you can kind of get an idea from that. This is not a very fun time in the history of the world and of this country. This is the kind of stuff that people should be reading, but when the New York Times comes out and says that the Great Reset is a conspiracy theory, and people look no further because, oh, it's the New York Times. They're telling me the truth. No, they are not. They are not telling you the truth at all whatsoever. In fact, they are lying so... I was paranoid about this video stopping. That's why I keep looking at that. They are so open about this that I can even hear the admissions on the mainstream. They say things and I'm like, dude, they just told us. And people are like, no, that's some crazy theory, man. Nothing like that's ever going to happen in the world. The world is too good, guys. The problem is, there's too many good people doing nothing. That is a fact. There are a lot of people that are good. Yes, the majority of people are good. Absolutely, I believe that. See it every day. But all that is needed for evil to succeed is for good men to do nothing. And that is what is happening today in this society. Too many people are too self-deluded, I should say. They're actually selfish. I'm not talking about, oh, you people that don't wear a mask, but no. We're not talking about trivial things that they want us to fight about to divide the people. No. We're talking about how most Americans literally only care for themselves. And this is a fact. I'm guilty of it a lot of times because I'm only a human. I'm a mortal man. Of course I'm guilty of that. It is human nature. But also, there comes a point in time where you have to put your self-needs aside. And you have to risk certain things in order to do your duty, I should say. Like what I'm doing. This is my duty. I feel it in my soul. I feel that God has called me to do this. Ever since I can remember. Ever since I can remember, it gives me such a wholesome feeling within the pit of my soul to do this. After I'm done putting videos up, or even just talking to somebody, or even something as simple as posting on Facebook, I feel good. Because I put it out there. I put out this information, and whatever people are willing to do with it, that is their, well, it's at their own discretion. Most people look at this stuff and they say, oh, this is just some lunatic conspiracy theory and blah, 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 blah. As you guys see, I have the Secret Destiny up here on the part that we were reading. We'll get back to that. There's a lot of stuff going on, though. Last thing that I wanted to get. What is this? I don't want to subscribe. This is the last thing that I wanted to show you guys. This is from foreignaffairs.com. This is a legitimate site. The New World Order envisioned by Presidents Bush and Gorbachev would be founded on the rule of law and on the principle of collective security. That principle necessarily entails the possibility of military enforcement measures by the United Nations. Twice in its history, the Security Council has authorized such action. The first instance was the Korean War in 1950. The second was in the Persian Gulf in 1990. More occasions are likely to follow. The UN Charter gives the Security Council the authority to maintain and restore international peace and security, to enforce the will of the Council on a state that has broken the peace. Use of military force by the Council for these purposes was foreseen by the founders of the United Nations. Indeed, it was seen almost a half century ago as an essential element in the world order that the United Nations was intended to, well, create is the next word, but it's part of the premium archives, but I didn't need to read that far. I'm not going to pay for this, but this is all I wanted to show you. You know what the UN Charter also gives them power to do? Well, first off, the UN Charter says that any country's constitution that comes into disagreement with the UN Charter shall reign supreme. The UN Charter has been the supreme law of the land since its inception. The Constitution is no longer the supreme law of this land. I still live my life like it is, but that's my individual right. That's my personal freedom to do that, and I understand the consequences. But if we are being honest, yes. And eventually, this stuff will escalate that's going on now, all of it, just all of it, that you see in the news, to such a point where they will declare the United States a UN compound or multiple UN compounds. And then they can come rolling in with the United Nations military enforcement measures. That's actually something I wanted to see if I could look up really quick. 1 second. Am I still recording? Yes. Okay, let me go to real quick. Let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, let's see. Look, hiring now. Not actually the one that comes up on Indeed. There was a page that comes up on Indeed where maybe if I went to Google. I'm sorry, guys. I should have brought this up whenever. But there's a thing where you can go on Indeed and you can see when. Okay. 3 days ago, Political Affairs Officer, United Nations Office for Disarmament. Intern Political Affairs Temporary a month ago. Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration Officer, New York, 1 month ago. Research Assistant, 18 days ago. 2 days ago, Political Affairs Officer. Why are they hiring at all of these places recently at the United Nations, especially for Disarmament, Demobilization, and Reintegration Officer? They're getting it ready, guys. They're getting it ready. And it is not going to be fun. It is not going to be a fun thing. There's more, but this is just all that's on here. But yes, eventually it will come to this. I have an idea for the next video. If anybody has any ideas that they would like to see me cover or they would like to see me read, please leave a comment. And guys, can we please start having conversations in the comments? Because I would like to speak with some of you. I know I only have like close to 40 subscribers, but that's good enough for me. And I would really like to talk to some of you guys because I like to share ideas. And we could talk about information that I present in my videos, or if you've seen things otherwhere, or if you know something that I don't. That's also why I'm doing this. I'm looking to get as much out of this from you guys as you are from me. Because we all have something to learn and teach to one another. Let's pray. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not unto temptation, but deliver us from the evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.